In his book, The Blind Watchmaker, which is a classic, very nicely written defense of Darwin's theory, Richard Dawkins, the Oxford University biologist, admitted that life overwhelmingly looks like it was designed for a purpose. The eye, is intricately arranged to see, and other organs are very finely built for their structures. But he also argued that that appearance is an illusion, that Darwin's mechanism of random changes in a system working over a very long period of time could mimic the appearance of intelligence, that it could select things that were working better and better and better until they formed some really marvelous system. And we would be mistaken to think that was intentionally arranged, because it's just the end result of a long, really unguided process, unguided by anything except natural selection working in the moment. Now, of course, I disagree with Richard Dawkins, and he was essentially writing under the assumption that Darwin's theory could explain all of these intricate mechanisms. And if you look critically at the descriptions he uses, they fall into the category of what we call just so stories. That is, they're imaginative ideas of how something could be built up step by step. Darwin himself kind of set the example in The Origin of Species. He asked, how could an eye, a really intricate vertebrate eye, how could that evolve gradually? And he said, well, he didn't really know, but suppose we started out with a light-sensitive spot, just a flat spot that could react to light. And then maybe it started to curl up a little bit. And if it did, then it would be able to tell the direction from which light was coming, because if light was coming here and the cell was curled up like this side would be illuminated, but this side would be in shadow. And so at least theoretically, that would be better. And if you curled it up more, then you'd get more resolution in vision. And if you added some jelly in the interior of this, you might have the beginnings of a lens. And so Darwin persuaded himself and other folks that even something as intricate as an eye would not be beyond Darwinian processes. But, what does it take to make a light-sensitive spot? Darwin didn't know. He just assumed that. What does it take to make a flat cell curl up? Well, he didn't know. Didn't seem like a big problem. But modern science has shown that the mechanisms which take a photon of light and allow it to be, the signal to be transferred to a brain are extremely intricate. There's a little molecule called retinal, which is kind of a linear molecule, but when the photon hits it, it snaps like this. And that's like a switch. It forces a change in a molecule called rhodopsin to which it's bound, and that makes it change shape. And that unleashes a whole cascade of intricate molecular machinery, which eventually is recognized by the brain as vision. Darwin didn't know any of that. He didn't try to explain that. And Richard Dawkins didn't try to explain it. In The Blind Watchmaker, he repeats Darwin's 150-year-old argument that, well, I suppose you start with a flat eye and then you start to curl it up. But biology has advanced a lot in the past 150 years, and such superficial descriptions are no longer sufficient to explain what we know. So Richard Dawkins, of course, is a very strong Darwinist, a big fan of Charles Darwin, But we have to move out of the 19th century. We're in the 21st century now, and we know that little eyes don't just curl up on their own and so on. And we have to look at the very intricate arrangements which are necessary for life. So we have to move beyond Darwin, we have to move beyond Dawkins.